What is going on, beautiful people? I am Lee Hammock, the diagnosed self-aware narcissist known as mental illness, and welcome to another episode of A Narcissist Explains. In this series, I take my TikToks and YouTube shorts and break them down into longer segments. Today's episode is going to be about how narcissists could react once you break up with them and you move on to someone else. Like and subscribe. Stay tuned. Thank you. So this person is asking, how do narcissists react when you move on? And if you're new here, I have narcissistic personality disorder. So it really depends on how the relationship ended. If you were the one to break up with the narcissistic person or the toxic person and you moved on to someone else, you might get an adverse reaction from that narcissistic person. They could become extremely obsessed with you, trying to get you back, blowing your phone up and things like that. Or they could become extremely obsessed with the other person that you moved on with. Sometimes they'll go as far as down talking the other person, trying to compare and contrast. I'm better than him or her. You know what I mean? But sometimes they will actually start to mirror the person that you're with. The person that you moved on to, they will start to act like them, dress like them, and become them sometimes. Even pick up similar mannerisms and try to win you back. Maybe if I acted like that person, they will want me back. The narcissistic mind works really differently when you move on, because a lot of narcissistic people think that they own you and they think that you will always belong to them no matter what. So, as you can see, narcissistic people could have a plethora of different reactions depending on when you move on. Depending on how you move on too. And it also depends on, how y'all actually broke up. Like, what was the breakup like? What was the situation like that kind of drove into it? You know what I mean? So if you're dealing with a narcissist or a toxic person and things like that, understand that if you break up with them and they are not ready for you to break up with them, they could react, very, aggressively, very obsessively, very out of character wise and things like that. Because when you're dealing with a narcissist or a toxic person, you have to think about it. Like, a lot of narcissistic people think that they own you. They think you belong to them. You are their quote unquote property. Like, you are the longer you, it doesn't even have to be a long time, but the longer you're with a narcissist, the more they think that you belong to them, and they treat you as property. Like, nobody else can have this property. So if you break up with them and they are not ready for the relationship to end, they could, absolutely act out of character. They could absolutely go crazy, do what they want to do, say what they want to say, and things like that. 100,000%. They could definitely do that without question. So I know people are going like, how do we stop this? How do we stop them from acting out of character? You can't. This is them. You need to protect yourself. You can't, if you break up with a narcissist, and it doesn't even have to be right after. You don't have to move on quickly. But if you break up with a narcissist and you move on, let's say 6 months later, they're going to they still think that especially if they're trying to get you back, and you don't pick them, you end up picking someone else. They're going to come they can become very obsessive. They really can. They'll pop up at your work. They'll pop up at your job. They will blow your phone up. They will, like I said, will start it. They could possibly start a smear campaign. They could possibly start a smear campaign about the other person while you're with them. They could do a lot of different things. They could become super obsessed with the other person. They can stalk y'all together. They'll pop up in places where y'all are out together just to make a scene. They'll start to blow the other person's phone up if they know them. If they know them, oh goodness. If it's somebody that they know, then you knew together. Like, if this is one of your friends, be prepared to be. They're going to accuse you of cheating on them. They're going to accuse you of you've been messing with this person the whole time behind their back. They're going to throw the accusations out, and sometimes they will stick. Sometimes accusations like that will stick, because it does look like if you moved on with the friend you told them not to worry about, and you end up with that friend, it's going to look like you were cheating. It just does, and they're going to take that and they're going to run with it. Like I said, they're going to run with it, and they're going to become obsessive. People like this can get very dangerous. Look up allegedly the Jen kid. Look what happened to him. His wife Jen Kid, JINNKIDD. His wife had broke up with him. His wife discarded him, and allegedly she was moving on and whatnot. He found out about it by stalking them, allegedly stalking them, and putting something on their computer, putting something on his daughter's iPad so he could hear it. He heard the man in his old apartment, went over there allegedly and unalived the wife and the alleged boyfriend or whatever, because he still thought that she belonged to him. He thought that she was cheating on him, even though she had she had broken up with him and things like that. So they can become very, very obsessive. So you need to protect yourself. I'm not telling you to move on. I'm not telling you not to move on. I'm telling you to protect yourself at all costs. Like, make sure that you protect yourself. Make sure that you do whatever it takes to, do whatever it takes to protect your life, because they let me tell you, I'll be real with you. A narcissist does not value your life as much as you value your life. Your life is more valuable to you than it is to the narcissist. Your life, your new partner's life is more valuable to you than it is to the narcissistic person. Just be careful, because narcissistic people can become very, very obsessive. Because like, if you break up with them and you find somebody else and you don't give the narcissist a second, third, 25th chance, they're going to come for you. They just are. And they're like I said, they become extremely obsessive, like, where they actually start to try to act like your new person, because they feel like why didn't you pick me? You had to move on to somebody else. Was I not good enough? And they can talk. It makes narcissists. It makes us go crazy. We feel like we're not good enough. So we try to change things about us. So if you replaced us with somebody, we could possibly start to act like that person, mirror them. If we don't have the same ethnicity or same race or whatnot, all right, yo, super early. They would start to mirror them. They would start to mirror your partner. They would start to act like your new partner. If they're the same race or ethnicity, they can get the same haircut. They can start to dress the same. They can start doing the same type of things like that. So I just feel like when you're dealing with toxic people, be prepared for that type of stuff to happen, because it will definitely 100% happen. It will. So that's what I'm telling you. If you're dealing with narcissistic, like, just protect yourself, y'all. I feel like I'm a broken record when I keep saying this, but I really, really do want you to protect yourselves, because narcissists, they don't care about protecting you. They really, really don't. They will rather you go ahead and drive you into the ground and make you feel pain, because they, like, as a narcissist, I want you to feel the pain that I feel. So if you break up with a narcissist, they're going to try to make you feel terrible about leaving them. You're going to abandon me like my mom did. Everybody in my life walks away from me. Everybody, including you. You just abandoned me at my lowest moment. Even though they were treating you terribly. Even though they were doing the most heinous and aggressive things to you. Even though they just stood back and watched as you cried on the floor and things like that. The narcissist was never there for you, but they expect you to be there for them, even after y'all break up. They'll start to manufacture controversies. They'll start to manufacture, like, death, people passing away in their family. They'll start to pretend and fake to be sick. Start to try to emotionally manipulate you by threatening to unalive themselves. Like, if I can't have you, I don't want to be on this planet anymore. I want to fly away. I want to do away with my life and things like that because of this situation, So I just feel like when you're dealing with toxic people, understand that you have to, this is it right here. The longer you stay in a toxic relationship with somebody, like, when the warning signs are there a lot of times, y'all, you just have to notice the warning signs, because a lot of narcissists and toxic people are very, very controlling. They will try to isolate you away from whatever sex or gender that you're attracted to. They will try to isolate you away from that. So if you like men, they'll isolate you away from men. If you like women, they'll try to isolate you away from women, because they don't want anybody else around you, because the insecurities of a narcissist run deep. We don't want you around somebody that you can choose over us. So that's very, very controlling behavior. Some people tend to think that's cute. It's like, I thought it was just cute that he didn't want me to have male friends, because I thought he was very, very, it was just cute. To me, it was cute that he didn't, he was thinking about me all the time. He wanted to protect me, this, that, so I couldn't have any male friends. That's very, very controlling behavior. So what do you think if they didn't allow you to have male friends? What do you think they're gonna do when you have a male or a boyfriend, or you try to start a family with a different male? Think about that right there, or a different woman. Y'all, you know how it goes, right? This is not, we try to be all gender inclusive on this page and whatnot. But yeah, just be careful, y'all. Just be careful, because I know one of the questions that a lot of people kept asking me in the comment section was like, what happened if the narcissist discards you? Are they the same way? It really just depends on that narcissist. If they're done with you, then they might be completely done with you. But sometimes they will discard you. The narcissist will discard you for somebody else and still try to keep you from moving on. They do that too. If a narcissist discards you, they will still try to keep you from possibly moving on and things like that. You know what I mean? So if you're dealing with toxic people, narcissistic people, or whatever, you have to understand to the point where, you know, you get to that point right there, you know. Because I feel like toxic people, narcissists or whatnot, understand that. Feel it. Because even if they move on, they might still view you as their property, and they don't want it. It's like a kid. It's like a kid with a toy. You know, kids play with, like, this is my favorite toy as a kid. I was like, oh, this is my favorite toy right here. So I get the toy, lay it down, and get rid of it. You know, I stop playing with the toy because I'm bored with it. Somebody else comes to pick the toy up, I want the toy back. It's like, this is how narcissistic people are. I'm not calling you a toy. I'm just trying to give you an analogy of how narcissistic people view toys and people like that. So anyways, y'all, I really, truly appreciate y'all tuning in to another episode. Thank you. Like and subscribe for more. Mental Illness is out. Peace.